All right, this is the Mighty Manfred, and today I am chatting with Brian Fallon of Gaslight Anthem on your coolest conversations. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Pretty good that I'm speaking with you right now.
Thank you very much.
You're certainly welcome. Now, you guys are from New Brunswick, New Jersey, right?
Yeah, correct.
And you've been at it since 2006. So have you ever played the Court Tavern there in town?
Oh, yeah, first show ever, the Court Tavern. We played the very first Gaslight show ever.
Are there any other places to play in New Brunswick? It seems like that one's kind of an institution.
There used to be, but there's a few. They've been closed down since. So there was a couple more. There was the Palace was down there. I think that got damaged in the flood like a couple years ago. There was a really big flood down there, and yeah, but not that. The Court Tavern's pretty much the spot now.
Do you ever hang out there or play unannounced shows there?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'll go see. I mean, I still go see my friends play there. I'll see, like, you know, if I hear about a local band that's kind of like doing something interesting, and I'll go check it out and see what's going on.
So now you guys are thought of as being coming out of this tradition of New Jersey punk, let's say, along the lines of the Bouncing Souls, and then other folks will be listening to you and they'll think more of a Jersey Shore sound. There's something, you know, it's closer to a Bruce Springsteen kind of rock and roll. How do you reconcile the punk with the Jersey Shore sound? I
mean, well, you know, for us, we just mixed it all together because we grew up listening to punk rock at the same time as, you know, any kind of classic rock or souls or like soul music and that kind of stuff. We kind of took it all in at once. So for us, there wasn't really too much of a difference between what was going on, you know, down on the shore, which is where I was from. I was from Red Bank, and the other guys were from a little up north, and we just kind of mixed it all together because we found things that we liked about both, and you know, and the soul music kind of had that same kind of urgency as the punk rock, and so we just sort of mixed it up together.
So let's talk about let's see, Bruce Springsteen for a minute. He's a big fan of you guys, right?
I've heard.
Well, you've shared the stage with him. You've been on stage with him. Yeah. You've sung with him.
Well, big fan is a tough word. I'm not sure he has our posters hanging up or anything, but you know, I would hope that he's a big fan. If he says,
"Hey, why don't you come up on stage and sing a song with me?" I mean, that's you know, he doesn't have to hang a poster if he's going to invite you on stage, right?
That's true. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I just mean in his private life. I don't know if he's like, you know, putting on the record. Maybe he is, though. I mean, I've heard he is. I heard he likes the record. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
We can forgive him if he's not screaming like a 13-year-old girl. You know, that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Well, tell us about the time he did call you up on stage and the song that you guys sang together.
Well, the first time was at that festival Glastonbury in over in the UK, and he just kind of rolled up on us when we were right about to go on stage, and he was like, "I want to play that 59 sound song with you," and we were like, "Do you know how to play it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." I'm like, "Do you have a guitar?" And he's like, "No." Okay, and we were just like, yeah, "All right, well, we'll figure it out. We'll get a guitar for you." And then after the show, he said, "Hey, well, why don't you return the favor and come sing with us?" And I was just like, "All right," like, you know, what do you say to that? I don't know what even to, you know, even thinking about it now, it's sort of like surreal because you don't expect that to happen, especially when you're in that panic of like, I'm about to go on stage. There's a lot of people here, and I'm nervous. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're nervous, now you're really nervous.
Well, so what was the? You said it was Glastonbury, where he asked to get on stage with you guys. Where was it where he had you, where he returned the favor, let's say?
Same show, same night.
Same night?
He was headlining. Show. Yeah, he was headlining Glastonbury, and then he had invited us there. And then the next day, we actually played Hyde Park Calling, that festival, and we were both on the bill together, and we did the same thing. So he played with us, and then we played with him.
So the new album is Get Hurt, and that is your fifth. You guys recorded that like last spring, and it came out last month. Man, that is unbelievably fast for you know, the record industry. How did you get it out so fast?
I think that we just get it done. You know, like we go in there knowing what we're going to do generally before we go in there. Like, we don't write any songs in the studio. So the studio we just use to get the sounds and get the songs, you know, kind of sounding great. But the shape of the songs is already done beforehand, because I think you can end up spending a lot of extra cash that maybe you don't need to spend in the studio kind of figuring things out.
So when you're working, you say you're working on those things ahead of time, and I agree with that, you know, figuring out what you're going to do before you're actually in the studio. But are you playing those songs out live, or is that something when you're downtime from tour, that's when you're working on the newer songs, or do you debut them as you're playing out live?
No, we work on them mostly at sound checks or before tour practices, but I wish that we could play new songs live. I mean, that was a great testing ground before the, you know, everybody had an iPhone with a video camera on it. It was really a cool thing, because you could go and play songs that were new in your sets, and people, you kind of get a vibe, like, did anybody react to this? Is it good? Or what do we think? How do we feel playing it? And you can't really do that anymore, because it'll end up right on the internet, and then, you know, it's sort of the cat's out of the bag.
Right. You know, in my band, I always look forward to our drummer having a brand new girlfriend, because inevitably when they split up, and they always split up, then he winds up coming up with a lot of great songs.
They say that's the catalyst.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, I was reading that, you know, you were going through some tough personal times when you were coming up with a new album. I think you're separating from your wife for many years. How does that play into the new record? Is there any specific songs that sort of deal with that emotional roller coaster?
I think that for me, the writing songs is sort of a way to get through anything. You know, it's what you do while you're going through it. So I've always kind of believed that when you're processing anything, the best way to do that is to just, you know, you keep doing your work, you keep going on, and you try and work on yourself outside of that. And, you know, the bits that get in, they're more subconscious rather than, you know, because you don't want to get, like, real steamed and then write a song about it, because then sometimes you can end up, you know, saying something you don't want to say. I remember Bob Dylan wrote a song a long time ago, I think it's Ballad in Plain D, where I read an interview years later, and he said, you know what, that song was too harsh. And I'm not sure if that's the right song, but it was, he said there was one song that was really, really harsh that he wrote, and he was like, I wish I never put that one out. He was like, that's the one song that I wish that I didn't do that with. And so I kind of took that to heart and realized that, you know, maybe you just write in more of a broader sense, and then you sort of let the peripherals come in subconsciously, and then, you know, people, because I think songs are about the sentiment and the relatability rather than what specifically they're about.
Right, I agree with that. They're, you know, making it relatable. So the new album's out, and you guys got a lot of touring lined up. What is your ideal balance with playing live? I mean, you feel more at home on the road, or is the road just something to slog through so you can, you know, get back home? What is the balance you like to strike between all that?
Well, I mean, I think you have to, if you ask me now when we're about to go, or if you ask me 17 weeks in, I might say a different answer. But, I mean, we've always thought of ourselves as a live band. So there's always been that everything is always about the show, and everything is always about, you know, well, what is this going to sound like live? How are we going to do this live? And that's where we started, and that's where I think that the real, you know, connections can happen is on that stage. So everything sort of gravitates around the live show, and that's what we get. You know, that's the most exciting thing. I mean, I do love making records, but the live show is the thing. Oh,
man. Brian, thanks so much for speaking with me today. And
yeah, no problem.
Let's go out on another track from the new album. This one right here is called Ain't That a Shame, in Little Steven's Underground Garage.